Use algebra to solve this equation over the domain from 0 to 3 pi over 2. When we look at the equation, it's got cos and it's got a sine squared. So we have a tough time solving equations when it has two different trig functions. However, we can use our identity. I'm not going to write the sine squared. What could I write instead of sine squared? 1 minus cos squared. And if I do that, if I make that substitution, now my equation only has the trig function of cos. I have some like terms, so if I distribute that 2, then I have some like terms here. I can rearrange this, and I notice that I have a quadratic trig function. 3 minus 2 would be plus 1 equals 0. This one is an easy one to factor, because if you go to factor it, the only possibility to get 2 cos squared as your first term would be 2 cos times cos. The only possibility to get 1 as a last term would be 1 times 1. And now you just have to decide what the signs would be in between. You need to get a negative 3 cos x. So these will both have to be negative. So my outside is negative 2, my inside is negative 1. Together, those combine to give me a negative 3 cos x. Splitting this up, I get cos x equals 1/2 and cos x equals 1. Both of those values are on our unit circle. When is cos a half? Pi over 3, quadrant 1, and in quadrant 4, 5 pi over 3. And when is cos x equal to 1? Caitlin says 0. And then, of course, it would be 2 pi as well. So, of course, I solved it between 0 and 2 pi. Was the question asking between 0 and 2 pi? Of course not. The question is asking between 0 and 3 pi over 2. So I've got to go down here. If I think about 0 and 3 pi over 2, that's only up to there. So I should have no answers in quadrant 4. And I should take out 2 pi as well. But 0 was included, and so our only answers are 0 and pi over 3. Did I give you questions for practice from the first two in this one? So for this question, it's 10. And for questions 1 and questions 2, I think I gave you 1 already, but I'll do it again. For question number 1, the practice questions are 3, 5, 6II, 9II, and 7II. Sorry for the order. And for question number 2, the practice question was only 12A.